Management Studies IGNOU presents an audiobook on the course MMPC-002 Human Resource Management for MBA program. Presenting Block 3 Performance and Compensation Management, Unit 8 Performance Appraisal, Part 2. Features of 360-degree appraisal. Organizations that are using with the 360-degree component of their performance management systems identify certain positive features of the process. These features will manifest themselves in well-managed, well-integrated 360-degree processes. Number 1. Improved feedback from more sources. Provides well-rounded feedback from peers, reporting staff, co-workers, and supervisors. This can be a definite improvement over feedback from a single individual. 360-degree feedback can also save managers time in that they can spend less energy providing feedback as more people participate in the process. Co-worker perception is important, and the process helps people understand how other employees view their work. Number 2, team development. Helps team members learn to work more effectively together. Team members know more about how other members are performing than their supervisor. Multi-rater feedback makes team members more accountable to each other as they share the knowledge that they will provide input on each member's performance. A well-planned process can improve communication and team development. Number 3, personal and organizational performance development. 360-degree feedback is one of the best methods for understanding personal and organizational developmental needs. Number 4, responsibility for career development. For many reasons, organizations per se are no longer responsible for developing the careers of their employees. Multi-rater feedback can provide excellent information to individuals about what they need to do to enhance their career. Additionally, many employees feel 360-degree feedback is more accurate, more reflective of their performance, and more validating than feedback from the supervisor alone. This makes the information more useful for both career and personal development. Number 5, reduce discrimination risk. When feedback comes from a number of individuals in various job functions, biases because of varying reasons are reduced. The judgmental errors of the supervisors are eliminated as the feedback comes from various sources. Number 6, improved customer services. Feedback process involves the internal or external customer. Each person receives valuable feedback about the quality of his product or services. This feedback should enable the individual to improve the quality, reliability, promptness, and comprehensiveness of these products and services to his or her customers. And number 7, training needs assessment. Multi-rater feedback provides comprehensive information about organization training needs and thus helps in mounting relevant training programs. Such programs add value to the contribution made by the individual employee. Benefits of 360-degree appraisal. The benefits of 360-degree appraisal accrue to the individual, team, and organization. To the individual. Number 1. This process helps individuals to understand how others perceive them. Number 2, it uncovers blind spots. Number 3, it provides feedback that is essential for learning. Number 4, individuals can better manage their own performance and careers. And number 5, quantifiable data on soft skills is made available. To the team, number 1, it increases communication between team members. Number 2, it generates higher levels of trust and better communication as individuals identify the causes of breakdowns. Number 3, it creates better team environment as people discover how to treat others and how they want to be treated. Number 4, it supports teamwork by involving team members in the development process. And number 5, it increases team effectiveness. To the organization. Number 1, it reinforces corporate culture and openness and trust. Number 2, it provides better opportunities for career development for employees. Number 3, employees get growth and promotional opportunities. Number 4, it improves customer service by having customers contribute to evaluation. And number 5, it facilitates the conduct of relevant training programs. Performance counseling. The main objective of performance counseling is to help the employee to overcome his weaknesses and to reinforce his strengths. In this sense, it is a developmental process where the supervisor and the subordinate discuss the past performance with a view to help the subordinate to improve and become more effective in future. Appraisal reports serve as springboard for discussion. Dyadic interaction is the identification of training needs. Counseling provides an opportunity to the supervisor to give feedback to the subordinate on the performance and performance-related behavior. Feedback can be an effective tool provided: Number 1. Both negative and positive feedbacks are communicated. Number 2. It is not just an opinion but is backed by data. In other words, it should be descriptive and not evaluative. Number 3. It focuses on behavior rather than on the individual. Number 4. It is timely. Delayed feedback is neither helpful nor effective. On the other hand, it might be seen as criticism, which may further deteriorate the relationship. As time passes, details are forgotten and recall may be jeopardized by distortions. Several conditions for effective counseling are identified. Some of the important ones are: Number 1. A climate of openness and trust is necessary. When people are tense and hostile, attempts should be made to counsel and help rather than be critical. Number 2. The counselor should be tactful and helpful rather than critical and fault-finding. Number 3. The subordinate should feel comfortable to participate without any hesitation or inhibition. Number 4. The focus should be on the work-related problems and difficulties rather than personality or individual likes, dislikes, or idiosyncrasies. And number 5. It should be devoid of all discussions on salary, reward, and punishment. Any discussion on compensation changes the focus from performance improvement to the relationship between performance and reward. Since counseling is a difficult activity, the supervisor should be specially trained in social competence to handle these aspects of his job. The skill required to do well in these situations is often referred to as the use of non-directive technique. It is a methodology of generating information and using this information to help employees. A sample of non-directive technique could be to start the interview by asking, "Tell me how you think you are doing." This provides an environment for the subordinate to talk about his part of the story first. The essential feature is to provide an employee an opportunity to talk and share his experience, which the supervisor should be able to listen and then process and provide feedback to him. Many supervisors are hesitant to initiate performance counseling sessions because the subordinates may raise uneasy questions for which they may not have answers, or they may question their judgments and decisions, which may lead to argument, debate, and misunderstanding. That is why there is a need to train supervisors in the techniques of counseling sessions. One major outcome of performance counseling is identification of the potential of the employee's skills and abilities not known and utilized by the organization. Potential appraisal is different from performance appraisal, as the latter limits evaluation to what the subordinate has done on the job or his performance, whereas the former, on the other hand, seeks to examine what the subordinate can do. The distinct advantage of a thoroughly carried out potential appraisal are: Number 1. The organizations are able to identify individuals who can take higher responsibilities. Number 2. It also conveys the message that people are not working in dead-end jobs in the organization. Career path. One of the important objectives of appraisal, particularly potential appraisal, is to help employees to move upwards in the organization. People do not like to work on dead-end jobs. Hence, a career ladder with clearly defined steps becomes an integral component of human resources management. Most HRM practitioners favor restructuring of a job to provide reasonably long and orderly career growth. Career path basically refers to opportunities for growth in the organization. Availability of such opportunities has tremendous motivational value. It also helps in designing salary structures, identifying training needs, and developing second line in command. Career paths can be of two kinds. Number 1. Those where designations change to a higher level position, job remaining more or less the same. A good example of this is found in teaching institutions where an assistant professor may grow to become associate professor and a professor, but the nature of the job, that is teaching and research, remains the same. Career path in such situations means a change in status, better salary and benefits, and perhaps less load and better working conditions. Number 2, those with changes in position bring about changes in job along with increased salary, status, and better benefits and working conditions. In many engineering organizations, an employee may grow in the same line with increased responsibilities or may move to other projects with different job demands. One important mechanism to identify the promotability of employees is assessment center. It is a method which uses a variety of techniques to evaluate employees for manpower requirements in the organization. It uses situational tests including exercises requiring participants to prepare written reports after analyzing management problem, make oral presentations, answer mail or memo in in-basket situation, and a whole lot of situational decision-making exercises. Assessors observe the behavior and make independent reports of their evaluation of the strengths and weaknesses of the attributes being studied. Problems in performance appraisal. While it is assumed that performance appraisal process and techniques present an objective system, it would be naive to assume, however, that all practicing managers impartially interpret and standardize the criteria upon which their subordinates will be appraised. In spite of our recognition that a completely error-free performance appraisal can only be idealized, a number of errors are there that significantly impede objective evaluation. Some of these errors are: Number 1. Leniency error. Every evaluator has his or her own value system that acts as a standard against which appraisals are made. Relative to the true or actual performance an individual exhibits, some evaluators mark high and others low. The former is referred to as positive leniency error and the latter as negative leniency error. When evaluators are positively lenient in their appraisal, an individual's performance becomes overstated, that is, rated higher than it actually should. Similarly, a negative leniency error understates performance, giving the individuals as lower appraisal. Number 2. Halo effect. The halo effect or error is a tendency to rate high or low on all factors due to the impression of a high or low rating on some specific factor. For example, if an employee tends to be conscientious and dependable, the supervisor might become biased towards that individual to the extent that he will rate him or her high on many desirable attributes. Number 3. Similarity error. When evaluators rate other people in the same ways that the evaluators perceive themselves, they are making a similarity error. Based on the perception that evaluators have of themselves, they project those perceptions onto others. For example, the evaluator who perceives himself or herself as aggressive may evaluate others by looking for aggressiveness. Those who demonstrate this characteristic tend to benefit while others are penalized. Number 4. Low appraiser motivation. What are the consequences of the appraisal? If the evaluator knows that a poor appraisal could significantly hurt the employee's future, particularly opportunities for promotion or a salary increase, the evaluator may be reluctant to give a realistic appraisal. There is evidence that it is more difficult to obtain accurate appraisals when important rewards depend on the results. Number 5. Central tendency. It is possible that regardless of whom the appraiser evaluates and what traits are used, the pattern of evaluation remains the same. It is also possible that the evaluator's ability to appraise objectively and accurately has been impeded by a failure to use the extremes of the scale, that is, central tendency. Central tendency is the reluctance to make extreme ratings in either directions, that is, the inability to distinguish between and among ratees, and a form of range restriction. Number 6. Recency versus primacy effect. Recency refers to the proximity or closeness to appraisal period. Generally, an employee takes it easy for the whole year and does little to get the punishment. However, comes appraisal time, he becomes very active. Suddenly, there is an aura of efficiency, files move faster, tasks are taken seriously, and the bosses are constantly appraised of the progress and problems. All this creates an illusion of high efficiency and plays a significant role in the appraisal decisions. The supervisor gets railroaded into believing that the employee is alert and hence rates him high. In reality, though, it refers only to his 2 to 3 months performance. The opposite of recency is primacy effect. Here, the initial impression influences the decision on year-end appraisal, irrespective of whether the employee has been able to keep up the initial impression or not. First impression is the last impression is perhaps the most befitting description of this era. Effective performance appraisal. The issues raised so far essentially focus on the problems of reliability and validity of performance appraisal. In other words, how do we know whether what is appraised is what was supposed to be appraised? As long as appraisal format and procedure continues to involve subjective judgment, this question cannot be fully answered and perhaps will not be answered completely because no matter how objective a system is designed, it will continue to be subjective. The steps that can help to improve the system are: number 1. The supervisor should be told that performance appraisal is an integral part of their job duties and that they themselves would be evaluated on how seriously they have taken this exercise. Number 2. To help them do this task well, they should be provided systematic training on writing performance reports and handling performance interviews. Number 3. Conduct job evaluation studies and prepare job descriptions or roles and develop separate forms for various positions in the organization. Number 4. Design the system as simple as possible so that it is neither difficult to understand nor impossible to practice. Number 5. Generally, after the appraisal interview, the employee is left alone to improve his performance on the dimensions. The supervisor should monitor now and then whether the improvement in performance in the areas found weak is taking place or not, and if not, help the employee to achieve the required improvement. Number 7. Finally, reviewing the appraisal systems every now and then help updating it and making suitable evolutionary changes in it. This is the most important factor in making performance appraisal effective. As time passes by, changes in technology and work environment necessitates changes in tasks, abilities, and skills to perform these tasks. If changes in the format are not incorporated, the reports may not generate the kind of data needed to satisfy appraisal objectives. In addition, certain other points can also help in improving the effectiveness of an appraisal. They are: number 1. Behaviorally based measures. The evidence strongly favors behaviorally based measures over those developed around traits. Many traits often considered to be related to good performance may in fact have little or no performance relationship. Traits like loyalty, initiative, courage, reliability, and self-expression are intuitively appealing as desirable characteristics in employees. But the relevant question is, are individuals who are evaluated as high on those traits higher performers than those who rate low? Traits like loyalty and initiative may be prized by managers, but there is no evidence to support that certain traits will be adequate synonyms for performance in large cross-section of jobs. Behaviorally derived measures can deal with this objection because they deal with specific examples of performance, both good and bad. They avoid the problem of using inappropriate substitutes. Number 2, ongoing feedback. Employees like to know how they're doing. The annual review, where the manager shares the subordinates' evaluations with them, can become a problem. In some cases, it is a problem merely because managers put off such reviews. This is particularly likely if the appraisal is negative. The solution lies in having the manager share with the subordinate both expectations and disappointments on a day-to-day basis. By providing the employee with frequent opportunities to discuss performance before any reward or punishment consequences occur, There will be no surprises at the time of the annual formal review. In fact, where ongoing feedback has been provided, the formal sitting down step should not be particularly traumatic for either party. Number 3. Multiple raters. As the number of raters increase, the probability of attaining more accurate information increases. If rater errors tend to follow a normal curve, an increase in the number of raters will tend to find the majority congregating about the middle. If a person has had 10 supervisors, 9 having rated him or her excellent and 1 poor, we can discount the value of the 1 poor evaluation. Number 4. Peer evaluations. Periodically, managers find it difficult to evaluate their subordinates' performance because they are not working with them every day. Unfortunately, unless they have this information, they may not be making an accurate assessment. One of the easiest means is through peer evaluations. Peer evaluations are conducted by employees, co-workers, people explicitly familiar with the jobs involved, mainly because they too are doing the same thing. They are the ones most aware of co-workers' day-to-day work behavior and should be given the opportunity to provide the management with some kind of feedback. The main advantages to peer evaluation are that, number 1, there is tendency for co-workers to offer more constructive insight to each other so that as a unit each will improve. Number 2, their recommendations tend to be more specific regarding job behaviors. Unless specificity exists, constructive measures are hard to gain. Potential appraisal. Many companies which carry out performance appraisal also keep records on the potential of their employees for future promotion opportunities. The task of identifying potential for promotion cannot be easy for the appraising manager since competence of a member of staff to perform well in the current job is not an automatic indicator of potential for promotion. Very often, the first-class salesman is promoted to become a mediocre sales manager, the excellent chief engineer is promoted to become a very poor engineering director, and the star football player struggles to be a football manager. Potential can be defined as a latent but unrealized ability. There are many people who have the desire and potential to advance through the job they are in, wanting the opportunity to operate at a higher level of competence in the same type of work. The potential is the one that the appraiser should be able to identify and develop because of the knowledge of the job. This requires an in-depth study of the positions which may become vacant, looking carefully at the specific skills that the new position may demand and also taking into consideration the more subjective areas like qualities required. These may be areas where the employee has not had a real opportunity to demonstrate potential ability, and there may be areas with which you as the appraisers are not familiar. There are few indicators of potential which are: number 1, a sense of reality. This is the extent to which a person thinks and acts objectively, resisting purely emotional pressures but pursuing realistic projects with enthusiasm. Number 2, imagination. The ability to let the mind range over a wide variety of possible causes of action, going beyond conventional approaches to situations and not being confined to, this is the way it is always being done. Number 3, power of analysis. The capacity to break down, reformulate or transform a complicated situation into manageable terms. Number 4, breadth of vision. The ability to examine a problem in the context of a much broader framework of reference, being able to detect within a specific situation relationships with those aspects which could be affecting the situation. And number 5, persuasiveness. The ability to sell ideas to other people and gain a continuing commitment, particularly when the individual is using personal influence rather than management authority. Now let's summarize the unit. Performance appraisal is concerned with setting objectives for individuals, monitoring progress towards these objectives on a regular basis in our atmosphere of trust and cooperation between the appraiser and the appraisee. Well-designed appraisal systems benefit the organization, managers, and individuals in different ways and need to fulfill certain key objectives if they are to be successful. Appraisal systems should be designed to focus employees on both their short and long-term objectives and career goals. It is also important to be aware of the problems associated with performance appraisal systems. You were listening to the audiobook by the School of Management Studies IGNOU for MBA program. Course code MMPC-002 Human Resource Management. Course Coordinator Professor Nayantara Padhi from School of Management Studies IGNOU. Voiceover by Harpreet Kaur. Edited by Tarannum Jahan. Program assisted by Jagbandhu Jana. Program produced by Dr. Manoj Kumar Singh. This program was brought to you by Electronic Media Production Center of Indira Gandhi National Open University.